Broadcasting around the world from All Talk Studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, you're listening to alltalkradio.net.
The following program may contain language of an adult nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Dontae'S Boxing Nation Show here on alltalkradio.net. Now here's your host, Dontae.
What's going on, guys? This is All Talk Radio, and welcome to the Dontae'S Boxing Nation Show. We got a real good show for you guys today. I am your host, Dontae. Like I said before, my co-host is Norrin Radical, and I would like to introduce you guys my special guest, Mr. Jeff Mayweather, is in the building with us today. What's going on, Jeff? All right. His microphone good? Okay. So what's been going on, man? You back training again? I know you had a couple health issues that you was taking care of, but everything is getting better right now, right?
Yeah. I'm probably about 75% now, and but I was out of action for about almost 6 months, and I've been back training now for about a month and a half. So I'm glad to be back at work.
Okay, cool. And also, I meant to introduce on the phone another guest we have is Arab King. You there on the phone, Arab?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. What's going on, bro? Okay. All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nah, no problem. So let me just start off by asking you this, Jeff. How is Mayweather looking in training, man? You over there at the camp? He's sparring pretty tough. How's he looking right now?
Floyd, he's looking sharp as always. He's actually, what's weird is that, when Floyd first starts camp, on the very first day, he always spars, and then even in the first day, he looked like he was ready to fight. The next week, but I don't know. That's just probably because he lives a clean life, but he's looking real good. He's looking real sharp.
Okay, that's what's up. So you want to go ahead, Norrin?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to welcome Jeff to the show. It's a big honor. Jeff, let me ask you this. We got Floyd and Maidana. We also got some interesting things on the undercard. What do you think of some of the fights? Khan. Who's Khan? Khan
is Carlos Molina.
No. That's Broner. Exactly. Luis Collazo's coming off a decent win off of Ortiz. We know Ortiz ain't what he was at one time, but it was still a good impressive win. What do you think of Khan and Collazo, Broner and Carlos Molina, and the undercard in general for the big May 3rd event?
Well, I think that it's a great card, but I don't think that Broner's fighting Carlos Molina. I think he's fighting John Molina.
No, I believe it's Carlos Molina.
No, it's Carlos.
Carlos was supposed to fight the Charlos brothers. He's 100 and...
No, he's a junior Carlos middleweight.
Molina.
Yeah, there's the
one that got locked up.
Yeah, exactly. The one for the
one who fought Amir Khan.
He got deported.
Yeah.
The one who was supposed to fight the Charlo brothers.
Yeah.
Carlos Molina is the one who fought Amir Khan. He was actually a lightweight. He moved up from 135, and now he's fighting at junior welterweight. And,
I don't know much about him.
Okay, so it should be a good night for Broner to come back.
Yeah.
If you don't know him, it must be a good night.
Don't get me wrong. I think Broner's is a good fighter. A very good fighter, very solid fighter. I think that one of those things that when you advertise yourself as you're this, you're that, and brag about it, and so on and so forth. You gotta deal with the backlash of it. Because everybody's waiting for you to lose when you got everything. Anytime you're interviewed, anytime you're on TV, you're belittling your opponent, you're talking trash, and so basically it's one of those situations where hopefully he got a little humble pie, and that he's gonna come back, even better than he was before. Hopefully.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, Jeff. Do you think with Broner, because often it's a case of guys coming along too quickly, and I've heard that critique being thrown Broner's way often. But then you got to think, Floyd was, he was world champion, relatively quickly also. Do you think it was that, or do you think maybe it was the fact that he skipped a whole weight division and he just wasn't ready for, for the, what he experienced at 147 at welterweight?
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it's more the weight class itself, because he jumped the weight class, but at the same time, there was a reason to jump that weight class, because in 47 you have Floyd, and then you have other guys that's decent, and you got some pickings, but at 140, I mean, it's that's a bad group of guys from 1 to 15. So maybe jumping over that was probably the right idea in order to win a title, But at the same time, I mean, one thing with Bonner is that, I mean, he's always been the type of fighter that walk guys down. So he usually get behind the shoulder and walk guys down because he has more power than them. But at welterweight, he can't do that. He's gonna have to learn how to use his legs and learn how to get in and get out. And actually box.
Absolutely, learn to adjust.
Right.
Learn to adjust. Real quick. What about that Khan Collazo? Any opinions on that?
Well, I mean, I think that is a very interesting fight. I mean, I think that it's a fight that either guy can win. I mean, and of course with Khan, I mean, he's it's one of those situations where if he get hit right, it could be a good night.
He got that button, huh?
And but don't get me wrong. I mean, at the same time, he's the more talented fighter.
Absolutely.
He's the more talented fighter, but at the same time, I mean, like I said, if he get hits on the chin, and he's affected by it, I mean, he can easily lose.
Absolutely.
It's a 50-50 fight. So you see it as a 50-50 fight?
Right, definitely.
You got anything on that, A-Rob?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I think the Carlos Molina, I think it's going to be an easy fight for Adrian Broner because Carlos Molina don't have no power, and he didn't have the power at 135, so he shouldn't give Adrian Broner too many problems. And if Adrian Broner is still himself, he should walk through somebody like Carlos Molina. But the Amir Khan versus Collazo, I think that's a tough fight for both guys. I think it's a 50-50, and is a fight between the skills of Khan and the skills of Collazo, and also the chin of Khan versus the power of Collazo. So can Khan take a punch, and can he outbox Collazo? That's the question. And if he get tagged and go to sleep, well, I guess Collazo, he's moving to better and bigger things.
Absolutely.
Collazo's in the sweepstakes, huh? If he can make it happen.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump all around. Jeff, got a whole bunch of questions for you. I want to switch gears real quick and ask you this, man. Floyd Mayweather, your nephew, obviously, he was voted Fighter of the Year this year. How is it possible that he could be voted Fighter of the Year and Freddie Roach, he gets Trainer of the Year? I mean, wouldn't it make more sense that normally the fighter gets Fighter of the Year and the trainer gets Trainer of the Year, right?
Yes, that's how it's supposed to work. But I mean, of course, there's the politics of boxing. Because the one thing that you got to realize is this: Floyd's been, on top of at least pound for pound list, on top of it for at least the last 13 years.
Yeah.
And if you have a guy that's been, on top of the pound for pound list for 13 years, and his trainer has never won Trainer of the Year.
Yeah.
So that right there shows you the politics of the sport, because I mean, how could it happen? I mean, that right there shows you that. I mean, because Roger should have won Trainer of the Year probably 4 or 5 times.
Of course.
But yet, I mean, he hasn't won it once. But it's also the other thing is still the politics of it is this, that now Floyd Sr., long time ago when I was managing Floyd, basically at that time, that's when Shane Mosley was at lightweight. And Shane Mosley, his dad won Trainer of the Year.
Yeah.
And Floyd won Manager of the Year.
Oh, okay.
He didn't like that.
Yeah.
because he didn't like that at all. But
Sure didn't.
you know, but the thing is that I mean, because he knew that he really wasn't wasn't the manager. So I mean, he didn't want to accept an award that that he really wasn't deserving of. But and now, okay, and like I said, after all these years, Roger's been training Floyd for 13 years. Now, with Floyd Senior coming back, okay, I know that I don't know if he won Trainer of the Year again, or I heard that he won Trainer of the Year. I'm not sure.
Who you talking about? Roach, or are you talking about?
No,
Floyd
Roach
Senior?
won again.
Huh?
Roach won again.
Yeah, he just won this year. They
Oh
gave
my
it to him.
God.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. And the fact and what accomplishments has he had? Pacquiao beat Rios. He was supposed to beat Rios.
No,
right?
actually,
I cannot account
what
for
you
that.
got to realize is this: I don't know how he can win Trainer of the Year when almost every fighter
fighter
that he had
lost.
Yeah,
Devastatingly.
Yeah.
they're basing it on Nakoto beating Rodriguez.
Some dude
Oh, come on.
Delvin
Who,
Rodriguez.
Delvin Rodriguez?
Yeah. That's the only wins he has is Delvin Rodriguez and then Pacquiao beating Brandon Rios, who was a heavy underdog. So I mean, you had so many other trainers that could have got it, of course, including your brother.
Oh yeah,
You know-
I mean, you could have had my brother. You could have had Garcia. You had a lot of different trainers out there. You could have had
Virgil Hunter.
Virgil
Come
Hunter.
on.
Yeah, so I mean, but that just goes to show the politics of the sport. I mean, it's just like they gave Freddie Roach that show on HBO.
I was about to ask you about that too.
The most boring show
They had to cut
in
that.
the world. I mean, here's a guy that I mean,
that the title of the
all they
show?
doing is showing
On Freddie
dude
Roach.
go to the hospital.
Yeah,
Wow.
and his brother
What that got to do with boxing?
showing off his Nazi tattoos.
Right.
Which
I mean, showing that he's a racist. So
exactly.
I mean, if anything, the show didn't add to him, and it maybe gave him more discredit to me because, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, of course, he also got busted when he got upset at
Mike Tyson?
Ali Sabak.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And and basically he
And
called him a
Garcia.
racist,
Exactly.
and he called him a Jew, and he called and then he also said things about
Mexicans.
yeah. So I mean, so basically he got a chance. Somebody got a chance to finally see that the guy with Parkinson that they feel like everybody's picking on is the same guy that's picking on people as well.
Uh huh.
So I mean, to me, it feels like, if just because you have Parkinson's, don't give you a pass. Don't give you a pass
Yeah,
to do anything.
But Jim Lampley from HBO, he actually after that he defended Freddie Roach, and they attacked Garcia for even making fun of him having Parkinson. And I'm like, but what does that have to do with the fact that Roach, he actually offended the Jews too, and they had nothing to do with the whole
Right.
Parkinson's or anything.
Right.
It's a classic case of two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you're still trying to justify one guy's wrong.
Yeah.
Social
yeah,
politics.
Yeah, he definitely. So anyway, go ahead, A-Rap.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, most definitely. Freddie Roach. I really think he's just an overrated trainer. I mean, just look at 2 years ago, his biggest fighters, got knocked out or lost badly. Chavez lost badly to Sergio Martinez. He never taught Amir Khan how to fight on the back foot, and he got knocked out by Danny Garcia when he was training him. And Manny Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez. And this year, Manny Pacquiao might end up losing. And you got Cotto, he might get whooped by Sergio Martinez. So we'll see if he still get the Fighter of the Year this year.
Trainer of the year.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they might give him fighter and trainer of the year, both of them. They might up it for him.
like
They might make up some other stuff. God of the year, it don't make no sense, man.
Unbelievable.
It don't make no
Like
sense.
Roger said, I used to whoop his ass and spar all the time. He ain't getting no fight.
How did them sparring sessions go? Did you ever watch your brother sparring with Roach?
No, actually, I hadn't moved down here yet.
Oh,
But
okay.
I heard about him a lot though. But Roger was the type that he get in with anybody.
Yeah.
And he didn't care what size it was or anything. So I mean, and I've seen him. I've seen Roger do some amazing things. Even when he was an amateur.
Mm-hmm.
I seen him because he got in an argument with the coach, and at the time the coach was probably Roger was, I think, maybe 17, 100 and I think it was 118 pounds.
Wow.
And the coach was like probably about 30 years old, 220 pounds, and Roger knocked him out cold.
100-pound difference.
Knocked him out cold, ice cold.
Roger wasn't no joke, huh?
No. He had always had that punching power. So
The Black Mamba, they ain't call him that for nothing. Let me ask you this, Jeff. There's something, because I remember a conversation you and I had about the, some of the more prestigious families in boxing, and obviously you guys being at the very top of the list. Of course, it's Big Floyd, Floyd Sr., Roger, and yourself. You guys had another brother. Was he also involved in boxing?
no, I mean he was in the service. He was a guy that he was never really athletic, and he was almost the complete opposite of all of us. His personality was more like mine, just kind of laid back. But I mean, he was the type that he smoked, he drank, he partied, but I mean, he went to the service and he fought a little bit when he was in the service, but that was it.
No doubt.
And and that was his little piece of boxing.
Okay.
So where's he at now?
Oh no,
He passed away.
He passed away.
Oh,
Passed
okay.
away. Yeah. And where was he, like, in age with you guys?
He was in between Floyd Sr. and Roger.
Okay. No doubt. So again, with that theme, like I said, the family, because obviously boxing is, it's in you guys' genes, and that's one of the reasons why Floyd has carried it on. But moving along, we also have Bradley Pacquiao coming up. Bradley Pacquiao, the rematch.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Floyd, he has Maidana, of course, to deal with. But the possibility that Bradley can get past Pacquiao again, is there a possibility that fight could be made, a Bradley Mayweather fight?
Not if he's with Bob Arum.
Exactly.
It's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
So I mean, because Floyd's gonna offer Bradley, if he's a free agent, he's gonna offer him way more money we ever gonna see with Bob.
Mm-hmm.
But and Floyd don't want to do business with him. And Floyd is his own boss, so he don't have to do business with him.
So let me rewind a little bit since we're talking about that. So how you see that fight playing out? How you see the rematch playing out? Bradley versus Pacquiao.
I don't know. That's a tough call because I mean I think that Tim has really made great strides, and I think that in the beginning, the big stage was probably frightening for him, and now I think that he's embraced it and he realized that he belongs. But even with that being said, honestly, I thought he lost the first fight, and I didn't think it was no kind of way close. Even though he said that he went back home and he watched the fight and he seen this, but I didn't see it, and that's why the crowd was booing like they was, and and I thought that it was one of those situations in which the wrong guy got the decision. But don't get me wrong. I mean, still Tim has since that time has become much, much better. And I think that now the same fight is going to be a little different. I don't know if Tim's going to win because, I mean, I thought that he got dominated. Don't get me wrong. Also, the part that Tim twisted his ankle and that was clear for everybody to see. So I mean that could have also hampered the fight. But I think that it's going to be a fight that this time around, don't really know who's going to win, but I think that it's going to be much, much closer than it was the last time.
Okay. You got something on that, A-Rap?
Yeah, I think a big that Timothy Bradley already seen the brights. He already been, in a big fight now. He got the experience on this level. And I think, it's going to be a very difficult fight for Manny Pacquiao this time because, the last time he had hurt an ankle, and he still gave Manny Pacquiao run for his money. And this time, I think if he boxes well, fighting the inside when he has to, surprise Manny Pacquiao, because as we know, Manny Pacquiao, if you fight him in the inside, he will clinch unless he's ready, and he expects if he's not expecting you to come, he's gonna clinch you, or go to high geared mode. Yeah, let's block him. So Timothy Bradley boxing him well, move to his left, to the left hand, because that's mainly what Manny Pacquiao tried to land, and countering him in process. I think he's gonna make a very difficult fight, but. Manny Pacquiao, if he's on that, juice because he didn't want to take the blood test, he might, Bradley to sleep. And if, I really think that Bradley is gonna lose by split decision, because I think the judges will rob him this time. There's no way Bradley gonna win by unanimous decision this time.
Yeah, not if it's a close fight. Yeah, like I said, you guys have heard me talk about this all the time on my videos. I personally think that Bradley, he looked at a lot of key rounds in that first fight, particularly the last 3 rounds where he was moving to his left, and Pacquiao really had no answers. He kept trying to land his left, but he couldn't because Bradley kept moving to his left, and he was outboxing him with no feet. His ankles was sprained, so I see this fight as possibly being close, but I'm kind of leaning towards Bradley myself. But let me ask you this though, Jeff. Okay, now it was alleged that that Pacquiao, he took the Olympic style drug testing against Rios, but I don't even know if he really took it, because they said he wasn't taking it in the Philippines, whatever. But he turned it down, the Olympic style drug testing for this fight. First he said he was going to take it, and then once the contract was signed, now they're doing something with the Nevada State Athletic Commission instead. Why do you think he wouldn't take the test for this fight, but he took it for the Rios fight, allegedly?
Well, obviously that goes to show that there's something else that's going on, because don't get me wrong, it's one of those situations in where pretty much, okay, when Pacquiao fought Brandon Rios, they made him get tested 6 times. Mm-hmm. And the reason why they made him get him tested 6 times is because the same guy used to work for them. And so that right there basically tells you what was going on with Pacquiao prior to that, for them to be able to, to be after Ariza so bad, because they knew what he was doing. And then not only that, basically Freddie Roach even threw him under the bus.
The incrimination.
Basically saying that, well, okay, Manny was just, Ariza would give him these drinks, and we never knew what he was doing, and Manny never knew what he was, and Manny never knew what he was taking. But it's like this: if I'm married to somebody for 20 years, my wife can come to me and give me something I never seen. I'm gonna ask my wife, "What is this? Mm-hmm. I ain't never had this. What are you giving me? Yeah. Sweetheart, I can say it in a nice, loving way. Hey, sweetheart, what are you giving me? I need to know what this is before I take it.
Absolutely.
But Manny never asked. He just drunk it. But Ariza turns around and get busted, with Brandon Rios, because they already knew what he was gonna do. Mm-hmm. And also, he's done that with not
Maidana too.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I ain't gonna get in this, because I ain't gonna get no lawsuit. I know it's more than Maidana he did that with too.
Yeah. Well, when I said Maidana, let me specify. Basically, I was just saying, he was caught trying to give him something when he was fighting. When he was fighting Adrian Broner. So we don't. Like I said, it's a lot of fishy stuff going on. We could just leave it at that, right?
Yeah. Well, but like I said, basically, at the end of the day, no matter what, Freddie Roach basically threw Alex Ariza under the bus. Yeah. Because it was personal with him. But he don't know, in the way that he did it, he also threw his fighter under the bus. And
he threw himself under the bus too. He worked with James Toney and other people who done got busted. The whole camp is suspect as far as I'm concerned.
And it's looking very suspicious, because you got your own trainer, Freddie Roach, saying that, Alex Ariza is giving Manny Pacquiao some drinks that he don't know what he was giving him, and he probably was giving him some, steroids or whatever. So if your own trainer is feeling that way about you, how is your opponent supposed to feel? especially when you turn in the test down. Like when he turned the fight with Floyd Mayweather in 2010 because of a needle.
Yeah.
Just get a needle. Like, really? Does that make sense? And now he don't want to take the blood test again with Timothy Bradley. So how can we not feel suspicious? If you clean, take the test, then it's simple. Simple and plain.
Well, we've been singing that song for the last 4 years. So
because you just took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say
it's beyond suspicion.
Beyond.
You know,
who would have thought 4 years later? But seriously, right? Who would have thought 4 years later Pacquiao would still not be taking the test consistently? And it's almost became a new, part of the sport now, right?
Well, not only that, the one thing is this. Go back to when Pacquiao was fighting at 126 pounds. When Pacquiao fought at 126 pounds, his knockout ratio was 50%. He moved up 20 pounds.
And now what's his ratio?
His knockout ratio was, at one point in time, was like 90%. I mean, and so now all of a sudden, once again, that Floyd, the same guy who introduced the drug testing, into boxing, now all of a sudden, because Pacquiao, of course, he wanted that fight, and I don't know if, all of a sudden they cleaned up the act or whatever, but since that time, Pacquiao, he haven't been no beast. He haven't been knocking nobody out. So, I mean, that right there is suspect in itself.
It's a lot of suspicion.
Yeah, Swiss cheese, baby. Lots of holes. Lots of holes. That's what it is.
Let me ask you this real quick, Jeff. The fans' perception versus professional trainers and boxers' perception when it comes to Floyd Mayweather. I get a lot of people online, casual fans, constantly saying that, Floyd is a coward, he's this and he's that. But every time I talk to a professional trainer, boxer, Nacho Beristain, Juan Manuel Marquez, Sergio Martinez, the list goes on and on and on. They're always praising Floyd Mayweather, the complete opposite of what the fans online and on the streets are saying. Why is there such a disconnect between the two?
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think that a lot of it is because Floyd took a different route. I mean, he took the bad boy route. He became the villain. And a lot of times when you're the villain, kind of like with Adrian Bonner, I mean, who took a page out of Floyd's book and basically got paid a whole lot of money just doing it.
Yeah.
But, and so, I mean, that's how the game is played, because either you're a good fighter that can back up whatever you say, you're going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got to be, kind of like De La Hoya, a good, a guy that builds up everybody that he fights, but he know that he can really beat them.
Yeah.
And so he sells the fight in that way, and he's a good guy. Seems like he's the the ambassador of boxing. So, it's one of those situations where if you're not a bad guy or a good guy that can actually really fight, that's playing the role of a good guy anyway, you're gonna make minimum days.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, take a guy like, okay, you have Sugar Ray Leonard, who also played the role of the good guy, made tons of money. Then you take Mike McCallum, same level fighter.
Yeah.
Made bare minimum.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have nothing to sell. He had no charisma. He had the best thing about him was his name.
Body snatcher.
The body snatcher.
Yeah.
And he always delivered. And Mike was a great fighter, but he was overlooked. He was overlooked, I think, underappreciated, and I think a lot of it was just because of the fact of his personality.
But Roberto Duran, he was a bad guy. I mean, and they end up loving him, though. Matter of fact, he flipped off Sugar Ray Leonard's wife and all kind of stuff, and for whatever reason, they just loved the hell out of Roberto Duran. Don't
get me wrong. I mean, in that situation, you also have a guy that's loved by his country.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, and like I said, still, you can be a bad boy. It's just like, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of people that loved Adrian Bonner when he was out there talking trash and doing whatever.
Love and hate it.
And it's the same thing, even with Floyd. You have people that, it's like this. Okay, don't get me wrong. See, Floyd has lasted so long that some of the people that once hated him, they're actually becoming fans now because he's matured. He's matured, and basically now Floyd is now doing to me, which is funny because that's what I was telling him a long time ago. You know, when I was managing him, I was saying, I told Floyd, I said, look, I said, the guy that's making all the money, I said, he's a pretty Mexican. That, you know, I said, but he's saying all the right things, and not only that, he can fight.
Yeah.
I said, but he's the cash cow. And I said, basically, you know, Floyd, I was trying to get Floyd to be like the new or the next like Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, but
He didn't want to.
he wasn't ready for that. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that because, like I said, as long as you can fight and you can outlast being a bad boy,
Yeah.
you know, and then you mature enough where people start, wait a second, he ain't that bad. I like this guy, you know, and that's basically where Floyd is now. Floyd is fan friendly, you know. I mean, Floyd never had open camps, you know, and things like that. But I mean, you know, people can, you know, come to town and, you know, if they want to see him work out or whatever, I mean, it's no problem. And so I mean, you know, now it's kind of like, you know, and just like, for instance, like even when his dad and Guerrero's dad was going at it, you know, he was the one who said, look, leave that alone.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now it's like he's matured.
Floyd being the mature one.
The mediator now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's come full circle.
Yeah.
But the one thing about him coming full circle is this: he's still undefeated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the difference between like maybe Adrian Bonner because he did the exact same thing, came the same route, but he lost. And now that he's lost, I mean, the criticism is so bad that it's unfair to him. I mean, to me, as you know, I mean, I once looked on Instagram when he was saying like he was on vacation with his girlfriend or something, and replies and the responses was, "You on vacation? You need to be in the gym. You got, you know." I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, I'm talking about. I mean, it was vicious. It was real vicious. You know what people were saying to him, but at the same time, I mean, he has to grow some thick skin because he created that.
Let me say this, because B-Hop also, B-Hop is pretty much a villain, or has played the villain throughout the majority of his career. There's some villainous activities, you know, throwing down the flag when he was fighting Tito. Comments he made with Kawasaki wasn't well received. But again, I don't think he received the magnitude of the traction that Floyd has. Now, do you think that is accountable because Floyd is undefeated and maybe you know, people just want to see you knock down a peg, you know what I mean, because they're more conditioned to.
Well, believe me, it's like this. Once you've been defeated, you can say what you want to. Nobody cares. Because
exactly.
you never because that one time that you didn't back it up, nobody has to listen to you anymore. But long as you keep winning, people gotta listen whether they want to or not. You know, that's the difference between a guy that already got a loss and a guy that don't have no losses. You know, and that's really the difference. And don't get me wrong, I mean, and partly I think that, you know, Bernard being accepted also was because a lot of his anger, a lot of his dislike was actually, you know, pointed toward Don King. You know, and there's a whole bunch of people that don't like Don King, you know, for whatever reason. But, you know, and when you have a guy that's a promoter and that's also perceived as a villain, you know, you become less of a villain. You know, don't get me wrong. Same thing with James Toney. I mean, put it this way: when James Toney said on national TV, "Fuck Don King," they loved him. But when James Toney said something about Jackie Callan, no, wait a second now. You're a damn fool.
We know what time it is.
It's almost
it's a double standard.
Exactly, but it's almost like a guy being more of an anti-hero than a villain. You know what I mean? To an extent.
Right.
You know?
I mean, he made himself, put it this way, when he said the stuff about Don King, they loved him.
Exactly.
But when he said that about Jackie Callan,
exactly.
You back to where you was before. You lost all your points.
Oh man.
I like to say sometimes I think the public, they are more conditioned to accept mediocrity and kind of resent, you know, greatness.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like this. I think that in all sports, not just boxing, but boxing even more because it's a one-on-one sport. You know, where no one likes a person that's on top and just and stays on top and
Yeah, they want to see him lose.
they want to somebody want to see him lose. You know, there's always going to be somebody that want to see him lose, no matter. I don't care, even if he played the role of De La Hoya or Ray Leonard or whatever. Somebody want to see him lose. You know, because even when you play the role of Ray Leonard and De La Hoya, see, that's what you're doing. You're playing a role, and a lot of people can see right through that. You know, they're not fooled that this is the way you are. You know, and so people that actually see that want to see you lose. So I mean, you have your detractors out there for both sides and for both reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. You got something on that, A-Rap?
Yeah, I mean, and I want to ask Jeff something. You know, people want to see Floyd Mayweather lose. So should Floyd Mayweather be worried about the judges trying to rob him? Because we've seen a lot of robberies lately, such as, you know, Herrera versus Danny Garcia, and we got Herrera versus Chavez, the first fight, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, even Floyd Mayweather last fight, when he fought
CJ
Canelo,
Ross.
it was a draw.
Yeah.
One judge had it a draw. You know, like, how can you have it a draw when Floyd almost won every single round? And even the other two judges had it close. They had it 117, 112. So does Floyd Mayweather have to worry about getting robbed because everybody wants his spot and they want to see him lose? So he is vulnerable to getting robbed, maybe, you know, on his last fight, so they could cash out on him. So you think, you know, Floyd Mayweather should be worried about that?
To be honest, I don't think so, because the one thing is that the kind of money that Floyd generate, no, you're not finna rob him. Because you robbing yourself if you rob him. You know, I mean, but at the end of the day, it's a business.
But do you think we might as well go into it since we're talking about it? C.J. Ross, after she did that draw or scored the fight a draw, she retired, and you know
she was forced to retire.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. Was she forced, or did they pay her money to where she could retire?
No, she was forced to
Backlash.
retire.
Yeah,
she was forced to retire. You know, because I mean, you know,
And
boxing.
then- and
I
that's
mean,
how-
it was so blatant.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And that's my point. You know, they probably want to pass the torch to another fighter, kind of like
That's a
Canelo,
good point.
like the new big thing in boxing. So they want to pass it from Floyd to him because we know Floyd Mayweather's going to retire soon. So they don't want to just move. They don't want Floyd Mayweather just to leave. They want somebody to, you know, to pass the torch. That's why I asked that, because, you know,
Or they wanted to.
we've been seeing robberies lately. So if Floyd Mayweather have a close fight here and there, you know, it might happen.
Then they can have a rematch, and they can set up a rematch too. Yeah.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, but it's boxing.
That'd be a lot of money, yeah.
Yeah, it's boxing. I mean, I can't never say never. Anything can happen in boxing. You know what I mean? So you can never say never. But I think with the business side of it, with, you know, and not only that, I mean, with Floyd's skill level, because I mean, I'm gonna be honest, ain't nobody at 147 pounds gonna beat Floyd. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I can't, like I said, boxing is the theater of upset, so anything can happen. I mean, a person can land a particular punch or anything like that. But what I'm saying, skill for skill, Floyd's on a whole different planet than these guys. You know, and I mean, you got to realize it. He's doing this at 37 years old.
Absolutely.
You know, all the great fighters that came before him, the Ray Robinson, the Joe Louis, even the Ray Leonards, they were done in their early 30s.
Yep.
I mean, finished.
Absolutely. Now, everyone's always looking for somebody to beat him. Like I said, like Floyd said, if I beat this dude, they're going to find someone else. Now everyone is saying that Floyd Mayweather is afraid of Keith Thurman. That's what everybody's saying now. They saying he's afraid of Keith Thurman. It's like they always are looking for someone.
They got to find someone.
Yeah.
They got to find someone. And
I couldn't contain the laughter, my bad.
yeah, but I mean, that's one of those things that, like I said, that once you get to a certain level, and like I said, I don't care if you're a good guy or a bad guy, you're gonna have detractors, and they want to see you lose. At some point in time, people, they just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, there's supposed to be no such thing as perfection, you know. And so, but at the end of the day, what people don't realize is this: everybody always talks about Marciano's record. But the reality is this: that record's already been beaten. It got beaten by Ricardo Lopez. But because he's so small,
Good point.
he's not even relevant. He's not even a part of that, the whole attraction of, surpassing Rocky Marciano. And also maybe because, maybe because he's a Latino, I don't know. Because I mean, of course it's different standards.
Man, that's a real good point right there. So let me ask you, since we already know that if Floyd Mayweather could beat guys 14 years younger than him at age 37, and you got Hopkins who's almost 50 or is 50 now, and he's still dominant, what are the chances of Floyd Mayweather extending his contract? Because it seems to me like it would be beneficial for him to keep fighting.
Well, I mean, I think that the contract was set up the exact way it was set up for there could be maybe a second deal for one fight to surpass the record with some type of money that nobody will ever see before. And that's why I think that the contract, and I credit, I actually credit Al Heyman, because Al Heyman is a very smart guy.
Yeah.
He's a very smart guy, and I'm sure he set the contract up where, okay, Floyd wins, he's 49-0, he can walk away, or because he's done this, you guys can renegotiate a contract for one more fight. But the contract that you negotiate for this one fight is going to be, something that nobody never seen.
Okay.
So I mean, I think it was politically done. Like I said, I mean, Al Heyman's a very smart guy. That's why he's in control of boxing right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, you talk to your nephew obviously all the time. What are you getting from him? Does it sound like he wants to keep fighting after this is over with, or what? Or this contract is done?
No, he said he's going to retire. That's what he said. He
Yeah.
said he's going to retire, and and I mean, realistically, there's so many other opportunities out there for him that he actually can retire, and he's been fortunate and been blessed to not have tax problems. I mean, he did at one point in time, but he, like I said, one thing about winning, you can outlast that other stuff, unless you do it, get caught on the back end, kind of like a Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is 68 million in the red. And I mean, and his career is basically over now. So it's one of those situations in which he can never recover, and really make up what's lost now. I don't care who he fights.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, he's clamoring for a fight with Floyd, and that's why his fans are still clamoring for a fight with Floyd. But still, even if he make $100 million fighting Floyd, he still got it. He gonna have to give it all away.
Hey, but Pacquiao said he'll fight Mayweather for free, man.
That's because first of all, because there ain't no such thing as no free. Ain't no such thing as no free fight.
Free fights.
And then secondly, and secondly, the thing is this: is that nobody's gonna fight for free, and also the thing is this: you're not. I mean, how are you gonna fight for free when you owe the government? They're not going to allow. They're not going to allow you to fight for free.
And like I said, what contradicts that is we already know that he turned down $40 million when Floyd offered him that.
Right.
So we know he about his money, or at least he's claiming he's about his money, But all of a sudden he throw that out. I think that was just something he threw out. Bob Arum probably told him to say that.
Buffoonery.
It's desperation. It's desperation because, like you said, at one point in time, you were offered more money than you ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
But at that time, and that's the thing is that long as he's with Bob Arum, that fight still won't happen.
Yeah.
And because he was at one point in time he was ready to become a free agent, and unfortunately, he's ready to become a free agent on the night of the Bradley fight. So.
Yeah.
He lost that fight, and that kind of upset the apple cart.
Right.
As, so hey, that's the way things go. Hey, let me. What's
Nothing.
what's happening?
Nothing.
He got the fans texting him right now.
Hey, Jeff, you said some people say there's no such thing as perfection, but listen, man, if you're undefeated, and you got, not that the O is everything in boxing, but I mean that's a legitimate claim at perfection. But here's something I've been hearing being speculated at also, and just feel free to give your insight on it. There's been rumors swirling that again with Al Heyman, that he's actually going to be partnering up sometime in the future, perhaps near future, with Richard Schaefer, and they were going to, make a promotional company outside of Golden Boy, and have some things going on. And again, as you're saying that Floyd, there's so much to look forward to after retirement. Is that something that's within the realm of feasibility?
I mean, basically, to be honest, they're working hand in hand right now.
For sure.
Because
That's what I thought.
Golden Boy is making a ton of money off Floyd because they're serving their fighters to him. And they're making sure that their fighters get paid wealthy, and they get paid good too. So, I think that's a likely marriage.
No doubt. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, huh?
Right, and plus with Golden Boy, also De La Hoya falling out with Bob also the exact same way, and Floyd fell out with him. So it's like the two biggest fighters that he had at one point in time are now working together against him.
Oh, it must hurt.
Let me ask you this, Jeff. Floyd Mayweather, he basically made a comment that kind of stirred up some stuff in the boxing community by basically saying that he was better than Muhammad Ali. And like I said, you had some people just going crazy about this. What is your assessment on him saying that?
Well, the thing is that Floyd is on the highest level of boxing, and if he feels that way and he believed that, that's fine. It should be fine because the things that Muhammad Ali did, he surpassed him.
Yeah.
So he has no reason not to put himself below anyone.
Yeah.
He's been the longest reigning champion ever. He's won more world titles than anyone ever. And like I said, at 37, he's still the best fighter in the world. And so when you can speak in terms of the things that you accomplished and that they have validity to them, you can say whatever you want to say.
Got a legitimate claim.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong. You have people that say, it's just like people say, there's no fighter ever been greater than Ray Robinson. But the reality is this: there's always going to be somebody that comes along that's going to be better.
Yeah.
Because evolution.
You took the word out of my mouth. I was about to say that.
Don't get me wrong. There's just like in boxing now today. These PEDs is prevalent. They're making people much better than it was back in Ali days, back in Joe Louis days, and things like that. So, and it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
Yeah.
So it's a situation in which, just like for instance. But don't get me wrong. See, this is the thing. This is when people get upset. Ali will always be the face of boxing because he was so loved.
Yep.
Michael Jordan will always be the face of basketball.
Yep.
And now maybe Tiger Woods and Jack Nicholson, because of Tiger Woods, because he was, African American, kind of put him up there on the same level. And not so much because, his achievements. His achievements also have a lot to do with it, but also the fact that, a person of color came in and dominated a sport that was, that we never was able to even be a part of, be involved in. So I think that, it's one of those situations where, because who's to say that Kobe Bryant ain't better than Michael Jordan?
Good point.
Because, and at the end of the day, if you're talking about stats alone, Bill Russell's the best player ever to play basketball. But you don't judge it by that.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan changed the game.
Yeah, yeah.
And let me say this also, as you said, because Ali was so well loved, but we both know he wasn't always so well loved.
No.
He was hated more than Mayweather was when he was fighting.
Yeah, but see, the thing is this: the one thing that helped Ali was when he took a stand.
Of course.
Because when he took that stand, it had nothing to do with boxing.
Yes, sir.
And it was a guy that was willing to give his life up, you know, and people, you know, they understood that because there's a lot of people that don't care for war. And, you know, here's a guy that's a heavyweight champion of the world that says, look, I'd rather die, you know, and go fight someone that ain't never done anything to me.
So true. And I just add this also, even at the time he took the stand, though, he still had his share of detractors. It wasn't until
because they were calling him a coward
3 years later to everybody came around after they saw that, you know, that whole Vietnam thing didn't work out so well, and this guy was right in the beginning.
No, but see, this is what's going to happen. Same thing with Floyd.
Exactly.
It's going to happen the exact same way. The thing is this, is that basically, you know, just like with Ali, there was a lady that followed him every fight. Couldn't wait for him to lose. Finally, when he lost, she said, "They got your black ass." And, you know, and basically, for her, that was enough. Now she didn't have to worry about him having to lose because he got one.
The bitch could sleep at night.
Yeah, now she's fine. You know, but don't get me wrong. Ali wasn't appreciated until he was removed from boxing. 10 or 15 years removed from boxing. I mean, he was loved by black people.
Of course.
But I'm talking about being accepted. You know,
by
the whole. You know, I mean, it took a long time for that to happen, and that's the same thing that's going to happen with Floyd, because how can you not have lived in an era when you've seen this guy fight, and not, if you was a real fight fan, tell your grandson that you got to look at this guy.
History.
This guy is probably the greatest fighter that ever put on a pair of gloves.
Yes, sir.
You know, and when he says that, he's not lying. You know, because he is one of the greatest fighters that ever put on a pair of gloves.
Absolutely. Like I always say, we've seen this movie before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you said. I mean, it's just time. You know, things they happen over and over.
Yes, sir.
Just like Bill Bottoms, they'll be back.
It all comes back.
Jeff, I must disagree. I'm not looking forward to the return of that fashion statement. No, sir.
And let me just say this real quick too. The same thing happened to Muhammad Ali, where Muhammad Ali was telling people, "I'm better than Joe Louis." And Customato, he was like, "Are you crazy? You know, the people you fought were bums and this and that and this and that." And Muhammad Ali, he was arguing with Customato. He was like, "Wait a minute, I fought bums. Joe Louis had a bum in a month club. What are you talking about?" You know, so the sport evolves. Ali was better than Joe Louis, and Floyd Mayweather does a whole lot of things better than Muhammad Ali. Absolutely. You know, and who knows, maybe 50 years from now, we'll have someone who could do stuff better than Floyd Mayweather, you know.
Eventually that's going to happen.
I mean, but it ain't today, though. That's for damn sure. You know, so it ain't today. It ain't today. So hey, we got like 30 seconds left. You want to say something real quick, A-Rap?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is in the same position that Muhammad Ali was in. Well, the difference, you know, Ali was hated more at that time, and Floyd Mayweather won't be appreciated until he leaves the sport. And then 10 years from now, they're going to say, damn, I miss Floyd, you know. And, you know, ain't nothing wrong for him to say that he's the best, because if you was in his shoes, what would you say?
Absolutely.
So,
A-Rab,
that's always something to keep in mind.
No, what we call that, A-Rab? We call that historical hindsight, baby. For sure.
That's what it is, guys. All right, we closing out right now, and I want to say thanks to all my guests, Mr. A-Rab King, who's on YouTube, has one of the best boxing channels on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't. We got Norrin Radical in the building, and we got special guest Jeff Mayweather. We got to get him back on here because we got a whole lot more to talk about, Jeff.
Never enough time.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you guys next week, Tuesday, 4:05 p.m. on alltalkradio.net. All right, y'all.
Hey.